Everyone continue to find your seats, and we'll get started here in just a moment with our Hall of Fame ceremony. All right, I think we're about ready to get started. Good evening and welcome to the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm Kevin Ingram, I'm one of the broadcasters here at Vanderbilt University, and I'll serve as your master of ceremonies this evening. It is a real honor to be here. This is one of my favorite things to do every year. It's so cool to be a part of this, to learn the incredible stories of our inductees and our posthumous inductees as well. We're going to hear about them shortly too. So it's really, really neat to be a part of. And again, a real honor for me to be standing up here in front of you. This is the 13th class in the Hall of Fame's history. They'll be joining over 100 current members to make up the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame. Tonight we welcome 14 new members in the class of 2025. They represent 8 varsity sports across 100 years of Commodore athletics. Whether you're talking about Major League Baseball success, starring in the Super Bowl, winning conference championships, or achieving All-American status, this class of 2025 is really an elite and accomplished group. Our inductees each traveled a different path to arrive here and become one of the all-time Vanderbilt greats. The discipline, the drive, countless hours, it's all led to this moment where our 14 individuals join the ranks of the greatest Commodore student athletes, supporters, and administrators, and we induct them into the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame. It is a very special night. At this time, we also want to say welcome and recognize the family and friends who are watching on our live stream. So if you're watching on the live stream, it's great to have you with us. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. And now please welcome to the stage as we get started our Vice Chancellor for Athletics and University Affairs and our Athletics Director, Dr. Candace Story-Lee.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Let me put my glasses on. Glasses on. All right. Thank you so much, Kevin. You always do an amazing job hosting this event, and we really appreciate you. And thanks to all of you for being here tonight as we recognize our newest members of the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame. This is one of the most special nights of the year for all of us who care deeply about our Commodores. Earlier this evening, we held our private medallion ceremony where we officially inducted our 13th class in front of their friends and family. Now, if you weren't in there, I'm sure you're still close friends and family, but there was a capacity on the room. This tradition dates back to our very first class when Vice Chancellor and Athletic Director David Williams bestowed our highest honor in private with the medallions that you will see our inductees wearing tonight. We have maintained that same tradition over the years, and I even uttered the very same words that he did as I was privileged to place the medallions around their necks. As busy as Chancellor Daniel Diermeyer is, and if you've been following Vanderbilt, you know we're up to a lot. I want to extend a special thank you to him for his attendance at the private ceremony. He consistently demonstrates his support for athletics, and his leadership and partnership has been instrumental in the growth of our athletics program. The same certainly goes to our trustees and the entire university leadership team. I thank you very much. And now we arrive at the festive, fun, public part of the tradition, where our Vanderbilt greats will be introduced to the world for the first time as official members of our Hall of Fame. This all happens in the midst of a very busy academic year that isn't even close to being over yet. But as you all know, our student athletes and coaches have already achieved some incredible accomplishments. So just to name a few examples. We welcomed back our women's volleyball program after 45 years, and they kicked off the season with a spectacular opening match on Alumni Lawn and ranked among the nation's best in attendance all season long. None of us will ever forget an amazing football season with a school record 10 victories, including an undefeated home slate, a Heisman finalist, and a New Year's Eve bowl game. Our women's soccer team advanced to the Elite Eight for the first time in program history. Both of our basketball teams are currently nationally ranked with their sights set on March Madness. We still have shovels in the ground, and we have spring sports that are just getting started, and their aspirations are just as high. This includes our tennis teams, whose new outdoor courts at the Lummis Family Tennis Center opened today, and our beloved Vandy boys opened their weekend series in Hawkins Field, which is also under construction. While we are immensely proud of the young men and women representing our university on the fields, the courts, the tracks, and the pools of the SEC today, tonight's event is a reminder that Vanderbilt has always been a place where student athletes have thrived. Each member of this year's Hall of Fame class came here to chase their dreams, and in each case, they succeeded to such a degree that tonight we enshrine them among the immortals of Vanderbilt athletics. Once again, we have an incredibly diverse class of inductees. Sports represented include baseball, basketball, football, tennis, lacrosse, soccer, and swimming. Tonight, we induct the most decorated members of our swimming and men's soccer programs. We honor Commodores who went on to star in the NFL and in Major League Baseball, and a pair of men's and women's basketball players who brought the magic to Memorial Gym. We celebrate a lacrosse player who took the program to unprecedented heights and a homegrown tennis legend. One of our posthumous inductees died heroically in World War I. Another was the first Commodore ever selected in the first round of the NFL draft, while another was our first NFL Rookie of the Year. And one was an adored university administrator for more than 60 years. Their stories are truly amazing, and I'm honored to learn even more about them as I make the calls informing them of their selection to the class. This is truly one of the highlights of my job. My first call was to Tony Kemp, and I pretended I was calling to shoot the breeze. He told me he was in the middle of cooking dinner. He was putting it in the crock pot. Apparently, he makes a mean tortellini with beef. And he said, "We've got kids, so dinner is at 6. I then casually asked him if he had plans for the weekend of February 20th. And then I just sprung the news on him. And after a period of silence and raw emotion, all he could utter was, "Man, come on now." Tony Coon was also very thankful and grateful, but he actually beat me to the punch and he stole my thunder. So even though he guessed while I was calling, he was incredibly humble, and he even gave kudos and a shout out to our women's soccer team. Jamie Winborn and I were in school together, and we've known each other a long time, and I knew that that would be an entertaining call. He didn't let me down. The first thing he said when I told him was, "Lord Jesus, I'm sweating right now." He went on to share that his daughter had just gotten into a car accident. Now, she was okay, but he said, "I sure could use some good news today." And then I called Ryan Litman. We go way, way back. And if you know Ryan, you know he's never been shy, he's never met a stranger, but that day he just kept saying, "I don't even know what to say." Christina Fogi, we also go way back. She was so excited when I called her, and that same day that I talked to her, she had just interviewed for a new job. You'll be excited to know, to the surprise of no one that knows her, that she did get the job. And she also talked at great length about what a privilege it is to have two distinct opportunities at Vanderbilt, first as a student athlete, then as a staff member. And Ryan and I can both relate to that as well. The conversation between Alma Matthews and I sounded like two old friends just catching up, but we've never talked on the phone before. but it was so comfortable. And then when I finally shared why I was calling, all he could say was, "Let me compose myself." And then on a Friday morning, I called Ronnie McMahan. Now, if you've been following Ronnie's story, you know why we are deeply grateful for miracles and for the kindness of others. And in his emotion, he proclaimed, this is the second time somebody called Jesus, "Lord Jesus, I am overwhelmed." And he said, "Thank you for energizing a guy who needs small wins. This is so good for me and my family." Wendy Deacon and I chatted next, also that same Friday. Frankly, in the future, I may make these calls on Fridays only, because the first thing she said was, "What great news on a Friday morning." And she shared with me how much she loved her Vandy roots and how excited she would be to get back to Nashville for this celebration. My second to last call was Michelle Allen Byron. She missed my first call because apparently she's as good at pickleball as she is lacrosse. But she called right back, and we had a wonderful conversation. She told me she married her college sweetheart, a Vanderbilt football player, and now they are watching their 15-year-old daughter follow in their footsteps as a talented athlete in her own right. Now, each of the calls is special, but my last and longest call, it was actually multiple calls, was with Bob Asher. Now, when I introduced myself, Bob said, "Is this Candace? I've been enjoying bragging about the job you're doing with my football boys." And so I promised to let Clark Lee know. He then said, "Tell me about you." So I respectfully and politely complied. And then finally, he allowed me to get the focus back on him. He expressed his sincere love of the place and said, "I wanted to go to a great academic school and play in the SEC, and I made the right choice, especially once I started my sophomore year." He said, "I wouldn't have been a Dallas Cowboy without Vanderbilt." He shared a lot with me, a lot more than I can say tonight, because he wanted to make sure, in his words, that you understand the highlights of my tenure. And I enjoyed every second and learned a lot. Now, I don't want to steal his thunder about what he's going to say, but he did tell me that on his official visit, he went to the Grand Ole Opry and he met Barbara Mandrell. One can assume that that's actually why he came to Vanderbilt. Thank you to each inductee for reminding me in those calls and with your careers, and even tonight, just how truly special this Vanderbilt journey is. To Tony and Tony, to Ryan and Ronnie, to Michelle, Wendy, and Christina, to Alma, Jamie, and Bob, and to the families of Madison Surratt and Phil King who are here with us tonight, congratulations on your induction into the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame. On behalf of Commodores everywhere, we are proud to honor you, we are proud to know you, and we are proud to call you Commodores for life. Anchor down. I'm trying to get some Kleenex. Hold on. Okay. It's stuck in the box. Yeah, hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh. I'll use that. Yeah, you. Okay.
All right, this time, I'd like to recognize our current members of the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame who are in attendance tonight. So please stand up and be recognized. This year's inductees join the ranks of some of Vanderbilt's all-time greats. We thank you for the way you've represented this university and continue to with dignity and class. Those that are part of the Athletics Hall of Fame already, please stand up and be recognized. All right, it's time to meet the 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame class. We'll first recognize our posthumous inductees into our Hall of Fame. Let's meet those four distinguished honorees with this video.
This year, Vanderbilt Athletics is proud to induct four posthumous honorees into our Athletics Hall of Fame: Rabbit Curry, Jack Jenkins, Phil King, and Madison Surratt. Each of these men is already a member of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame in recognition of their contributions to athletics at Vanderbilt and beyond. A legend in Vanderbilt history, Irby Rice Rabbit Curry was superb on and off the field. Small in stature, Curry's display of talent, heart, and leadership was cherished by Vanderbilt followers. Selected as a third-team All-American and All-Southern Conference pick in 1915 and 16, Curry was a field general at quarterback who displayed a knack for brilliant runs. The Texan guided the team to a 7-1-1 record in 1916 and directed the famous point-a-minute squad of 1915. The president of his junior class, Curry earned Vanderbilt's prestigious Bachelor of Ugliness Award as a senior, as the most beloved male student. Unfortunately, Curry's life was tragically cut short. Just 2 years after graduating, Curry died heroically in 1918 when the plane he piloted was shot down over France in World War I. In 1921, the day before Vanderbilt was to play the powerhouse Texas Longhorns, Coach Dan McGugin took his Commodores to Curry's gravesite in his hometown of Marlin, Texas. His words inspired his players to win the game 20-0, a contest in which the Longhorns were favored by 2 touchdowns. Rabbit was all heart, McGugin told his team at the cemetery. I have a feeling that his spirit is hovering over us now. Phil King stands as one of the all-time legends of Vanderbilt football. The Dyersburg native led all Vandy ball carriers in rushing for 3 consecutive years from 1955 to 1957, averaging over 5 yards per carry. In 57, he was an absolute workhorse, leading the team in receiving. He was ranked 3rd in the SEC, also in punt and kickoff return yardage. With stats like that, it comes as no surprise that King was a first-team All-Conference pick in 1956, and as a pre-law student was an academic All-American as well. A first-round draft pick of the New York Giants, King was voted NFL Rookie of the Year, the only former Commodore to ever earn that distinction, and he played professionally from 1958 to 1963. He played in the NFL championship game in 5 of his 6 years with New York. King left the Giants in 1964 and played 1 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers before closing out his brilliant career with the Minnesota Vikings. Well, our guest is Patrick King. He is the son of Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer Phil King.
He was a very magnetic person, and people wanted to be with him and listen to him and kind of follow his lead. I don't think he led just on the field. He led in the locker room and, just in life. He was extremely magnetic and magnanimous. Having him being recognized this way, the legacy, and having our name, family name tied to Vanderbilt forever would mean everything to him.
Jack Jenkins was an All-American and All-SEC running back and kicker at Vanderbilt in the early 1940s. Selected 10th overall in the 1943 NFL Draft by Washington, Jenkins was the first Vanderbilt player ever drafted in the first round. While at Vanderbilt, he set a school record for the most points scored in a season with 90, and in a career with 147. Those were records that stood for decades. His 1941 team, which went 8-2, had the best winning percentage of any Vanderbilt squad since 1928. That year, he was a Collier's Magazine All-American and was named SEC MVP by the league's coaches. The next year, he was first-team All-Conference and finished his college career in the annual Blue-Gray game. Jenkins played in the NFL in 1943, but then had his career interrupted by 2 years of service during World War II. After the war, he returned to the NFL for 2 more seasons and served as an assistant coach at Vanderbilt after his playing days. Longtime Vanderbilt educator Dr. Charles Madison Surratt was a man of deep integrity who truly believed in the importance of athletics. Among the many titles he held during decades of service to Vanderbilt were chairman of the math department, dean of students, and vice chancellor. During the more than 35 years he led the school's athletic committee, Surratt represented Vanderbilt on the NCAA Council and the Infractions Committee. He was also instrumental in the founding of the SEC and long advocated for Vanderbilt's continued membership in the conference. Each of us lives in a competitive world, said Surratt. It is in intercollegiate athletics that we find the opportunity to foster and to develop the competitive instinct of a young person and give it direction. Surratt was inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame in 1967. The Vanderbilt Surratt Student Center is named in his honor. Our guest is Dennis Brock. She is the granddaughter of Madison Surratt.
One of the last times I was with my grandfather, I went and picked him up to walk over to Dudley Field to the football game. And I said, "Papa, don't you want to ride in the car?" And he said, "No, I want to walk. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to smell it. I want to taste it." And as we walked right behind the scoreboard, heading into the stadium, He said, just listen. He said, that's my boys. And don't forget, these boys are working their way through school. It's a great honor because there was nothing more special to him than athletics.
At this time, let's welcome Patrick King and Dennis Brock to the stage to accept this recognition on behalf of Phil King and Madison Surratt.
The 30th anniversary of Vanderbilt's trailblazing lacrosse program is a fitting opportunity to honor its first All-American and a member of the first Final Four team. Michelle Allen Byron transferred to Vanderbilt in 2001 ahead of her sophomore year and quickly established herself as the cornerstone of the program. Michelle led the Commodores in assists and points in her final 2 seasons, as well as ground balls as a junior and draw controls as a senior. She was named the American Lacrosse Conference Player of the Year and earned All-America honors in 2004. She was also one of 3 captains on the team that won 12 games, upset number 4 overall seed Loyola Maryland in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and went on to reach the national semifinals.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Michelle Allen Byron.
Lower this because Candace is way taller. All right, well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. It is truly such an honor to be here tonight. First and foremost, I really want to just thank the Lord for all of his blessings in my life. I can look back and see how he orchestrated and carved out this path for me. Ending up at Vanderbilt led to amazing friendships, the start of my own family, and most importantly, the growth of my faith while I was here. I would like to thank Vanderbilt Athletics and Dr. Candace Story-Lee for the opportunity to be here tonight. You have put together a wonderful weekend of activities, and I'm just really excited to be here and able to celebrate everyone's accomplishments. I feel like I have a really long list of people to thank, but I'm sure we all do. Success at any level does not happen without the love, encouragement, and support of those around us. First, I would like to thank my parents. My dad was in the military while I was growing up, which means we moved around a lot. He would move to a new location first to get settled in, and then my mom, siblings, and I would follow. My dad would sign us up to play for the local sports team before we had even arrived. It was a great way to make quick friends and certainly fueled my love for all sports. As my abilities developed and I began to play on club teams, My parents certainly sacrificed a lot of time and money to be able to participate, and I'm really appreciative of those sacrifices, and to my mom for keeping like 17 uniforms always clean. Most of all, though, I'm appreciative of their unwavering belief and support of my athletic dreams. Unfortunately, my dad passed away 4 years ago from leukemia, and so it's really hard to be here tonight without him, but I know he would be so proud. Thank you to my sister Jen and my brother Scott for being here tonight. As the younger siblings, I'm sure you didn't always love getting dragged to game after game, but I love you and I appreciate your support, and I'm so thankful that we get to do life together now with our own young kids. Thank you to my husband Jamie and to my kids Lily and Brooks. Jamie and I met here at Vanderbilt while he was playing football, so we are a Commodore family through and through. Absolutely building this family with you is my best accomplishment. I want to thank my coach, Kathy Sweezy, for being here tonight. It is so wonderful to be able to catch up and reminisce about our time together. I cannot believe it's been almost 22 years. That just does not seem possible. There is no success on the field without great teammates, and I had so many. One of them, Jess Roguski, is here tonight. She is also a Vandy Hall of Famer. Jess, I'm so thankful that we got to do this lacrosse thing together. I loved every second of it. I also have 3 high school teammates here tonight supporting. Barb, Crystal, and Laura, thank you for being here. I really appreciate your support. While I am blessed to have experienced on-field success, it is actually the memories of time spent with my team that I think of the most often. I honestly couldn't tell you the scores of any games or recall any personal stats, but I can tell you that I was in the McGugan locker room every Thursday night at 8 p.m. to watch the TV show Friends with my teammates. And anytime I see a picture of the city of London, I think of roaming the streets with my teammates during our super fun summer trip. And every time I hear that Usher song, I think of our team dancing on the bus on the way to play Princeton in the NCAA Final Four. We may not have won that last game, but it is those memories that I hold on to forever. I'm so thankful to Vanderbilt Lacrosse for giving me those experiences. It is a great privilege to be on a team, work hard together, achieve your goals, and be able to have so much fun in the process. It is an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for something that I loved so much. Thank you.
An All-American and team captain, offensive lineman Bob Asher was a mainstay of the only Vanderbilt team in nearly 3 decades to beat Bear Bryant's Alabama. As a junior in 1968, Asher earned second-team All-SEC honors. A year later, he took center stage, honored as a first-team All-Conference selection and an All-American by multiple organizations, including first-team honors from the Central Press Association. On October 11, 1969, Asher and the Commodores beat Bryant's Crimson Tide 14-10, Vanderbilt's last win in the series until 1984. Selected by the Dallas Cowboys in the second round of the 1970 NFL Draft, he was part of the team that played in Super Bowl VI. He played 5 seasons in the NFL for the Cowboys and the Chicago Bears, and was named an SEC football legend in 1995.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Bob Asher.
Where do you want me? Can you hear me? I want to welcome my daughter, Allison, who joined me today, her husband, Josh, and her 2 children, Asher and Roman. They came from London just to be here to accompany me for this special event. My story begins as a senior at Bishop and Dennis J. O'Connell High School in Arlington, Virginia. I was receiving a lot of interest from Cornell, William and Mary. I also heard from Georgetown, local schools that were in our area. But it was Dick Steinberg, the recruiting coach of Vanderbilt, that really got me interested in Vanderbilt. I, being from Virginia, near the Washington, D.C. area, really didn't know much about Tennessee. I thought about the hillbillies and all that kind of thing. And then Vanderbilt, being a great academic school, was well known by so many in the community, but it wasn't sort of a school I had a lot of knowledge about. However, Dick Steinberg, the recruiter coach, called me weekly, educating me about the school. I can remember finally agreeing I'll come down and visit. Came down and visit, met him at the airport. First thing we went to when we got there was the Grand Ole Opry. I can remember Johnny Paycheck, Barbara Mandrell. Barbara Mandrell was about my age, 18 years old. She made a big point about how Vanderbilt's such a great place and that, you know, she wanted my autograph, for God's sake. So anyway, I got off to a great start with that. I then went on campus, and Billy Wade, remember the great quarterback? He was one of our alumnus that showed up, came over, and we spent some time together. Art Demas was a All-SEC lineman that was 24 years in refereeing and being an umpire in the National Football League. He was there. And then there was Baby Ray. Baby Ray was a 13-year veteran at the Green Bay Packers. You know, Baby actually worked in the office, helped with recruitment, and spent years, 2 or 3 years with me, trying to help me develop my career as an offensive lineman. I'll certainly be always grateful to him for what he did for me to get me started. In any case, what I remember the most was I finally signed and came to Vanderbilt, and in my sophomore year, I was able to start as an offensive tackle. In that year, we only went 2-7-1, but we had a new coach. His name was Bill Pace, came from Arkansas, was very offensive, pass-orientated. And in our first year, we had a guy named Bob Goodrich who got 1,100 yards in receiving, was SEC Player of the Year, and, you know, was really a start of a great run for Coach Pace and the Vanderbilt Commodores. My second year, my junior year, we had an All-American captain. Chip Healy was sort of running our team. And what I can remember about that year, it was the first year in 13 years we had a winning season, 5-4-1. My senior year, we had a guy named Doug Matthews. Doug Matthews was a running back, was a SEC rushing, won the SEC rushing title. Doug went on to coach at Tennessee and eventually went into the Tennessee Hall of Fame. These were great people, but the best thing about my senior year is we beat Alabama. It had taken 13 years, but we beat them 14-10, and it was exciting because at the end of the game, they were driving, they were looking like they were going to score and basically sew away the game. And Christy Houck, you ever heard of Christy Cookies? Christy Gelatin. Anyway, Christy intercepted a pass. We got the ball on the 3-yard line. Watson Brown was a famous, well, he was one of the top recruits of Bear Bryant at Alabama, but he went with Vanderbilt, drove the length of the field. We won the game 14-10. That was quite a memory, I promise you. Anyway, from there, because of the great education you get at Vanderbilt and their high reputation of being an academic institution, that kind of credential, along with my 3 years as a player, got the eyes of the Dallas Cowboys on me. Dallas had such a difficult system to comprehend for most people. You had to be pretty, you had to have a decent acumen, and let's put it that way, to understand it. A play on Dallas would go something like this: fire, red right trip, flip, power, 49 near GO, halfback pass. We're talking about a simple halfback pass, right? It was a language. Every word had a meaning. You know, like fire meant, play action fast. Red meant split backfield. Right meant tight end right. Trip meant slot back up on the right. Flip meant both ends on both receivers on the weak side. I mean, it was really an interesting system to be part of. But like you can imagine, it worked. Dallas won the I take that back. That we played in the 1970 Super Bowl. We played the Baltimore Colts. They beat us 16-13, and it was the year of Johnny Unitas. Anybody remember that name? Johnny Unitas and John Mackey were the two stars of that game. In 1971, however, we came back and we won the 1971 Super Bowl, beat the Miami Dolphins. Miami had Bob Greasy and Larry Zonka, and they went on the next year to go 18-0 and became the first undefeated team to win the Super Bowl. So it was an interesting time. Finally, in 72, I got traded. I was not a starter in Dallas. I played behind Rayfield Wright, who was a great Hall of Fame offensive tackle, played 13 years. We had 12 Pro Bowlers on our team, first teams. We had Roger Staubach. You remember Mike Ditka. Remember Bob Hayes, Lance Rinsel, Lance Allworth. We had Bob Lilly, Leroy Jordan, Mel Renfro. We had Herb Adderley. I mean, it was an incredible team. Now I'm on Dallas. Now I'm on the Chicago Bears. We had Dick Butkus. We did have Gale Sayers one year, and my last year we had Walter Payton, but believe me, we weren't anything like the Cowboys were. However, it was just such a great city. If you've been to Chicago, I think you know what I mean. It was home of the founding father of football, George Halas. They loved their Bears. I can remember going into restaurants, and the restaurateur would have T-shirts made up. I had a guard, his name was Bob Newton. He had these T-shirts on the wall, said, "I dig Fig Newton." Anyway, they also had one of me, and it was Smasher Asher, and had a big, picture on the front of Superman smashing somebody. But this was something they were just into football and so excited about us. I can remember Bobby Douglas. He was our quarterback. Most people think of quarterbacks passing the ball. He got 1,000 yards rushing when we were playing in Chicago. In any case, I don't want to bore you much more about the history of my career, but the bottom line was, because I had a Vanderbilt education, I was able to apply to University of Chicago, one of the great business schools. I got accepted, and that was the number one reason Harold Metcalf, the Dean of Admissions, says I was accepted, Vanderbilt. After my career, I pretty much got in the financial service business, became a normal person. And really, until today, and not really an eventful moment. I can't tell you how flattered and really just grateful I am that Candace Lee would even mention me as a potential Hall of Fame player. And I want to thank her especially for this great, great honor. I also want to wish Clark Lee the best. You can tell Candace knows what she's doing when she hires a guy that wins 10 victories, the most in the... I can remember we won 5-4-1. We thought we'd set the world on fire. So obviously, I'm very proud to be able to say I'm associated with such a great football program they have there, and really, do you agree, a great athletic director. Again, I should mention, because I played with this, I had Bob Patton, was his name, as a line coach. He coached me for 3 years. Then he currently has Terry Patton, is she here somewhere, I believe, and John Patton, who are still around to represent Vanderbilt. He certainly was one of the most inspirational people in my life and really deserves almost all the credit for any success I had. I also just again want to thank all of you. The Commodore, what do we call them? Commodore Nation? Anyway, Commodore Nation, and our guests here tonight for coming out and supporting us. We really and truly feel your love and support. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Can I give it to him? Thank you. Thank you.
One of the most decorated swimmers in school history, and the 1989 Vanderbilt Female Athlete of the Year, Wendy Deacon Seagris is only the second women's swimming legend enshrined in the Hall of Fame. Deacon enjoyed a breakout sophomore season in 1987, earning first-team All-SEC honors. She remains the only Vanderbilt swimmer to earn first-team distinction after becoming the first Southeastern Conference individual champion in school history when she won the 100-yard backstroke. She also earned first-team and second-team All-America honors in '87. Deacon went on to become the first and still only Commodore to qualify for the NCAA swimming championships in 3 consecutive seasons, adding second-team All-America honors in 1989.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Wendy Deacon Seagris.
Well, thank you all, and thank you, Dr. Lee. I actually had so much respect for her, but now that she put me behind Bob Asher right after him, I'm going to have to talk with her. And the trip down permed hair in the 1980s, so thank you for that, too. So I had the most amazing recruiting trip. My father and I pulled up on a Friday afternoon. The sun was out. People were on the lawn playing Frisbee. And as a 17-year-old who was strictly focused on fun at college and swimming, I thought, I am home. and that was at Florida at the University of Miami. Fortunately, my parents, who are with me tonight, and this was not the first time they were right nor the last, said, why don't you try Vanderbilt? I had a wonderful call from the coach and decided, I'll just humor them and I'll just go. But, I'm going to hang out here on the lawn on Friday afternoons in the sun. My recruiting trip to Vanderbilt was over a very snowy weekend in February. So Florida kid, no winter coat or anything. But I immediately bonded with the swim team. And what I learned there was it was a very significantly different experience. Because here I was going to trips looking at it as a swimmer. And everyone I met here, the coaches, the athletic department, the swimmers were swimmers and they loved it. But that wasn't it. That was a piece of it. They focused also on campus life, the academic success. And they talked about much higher aspirations post-college and post-swimming. And that actually changed everything for me. So as you can tell, I chose Vanderbilt. Now, it was a little tougher academically. I kind of skated through high school. That was easy, no big deal. It was a little challenging swimming and, as you all know, making it through Vanderbilt. But I learned that even if you fell asleep in class because you were up for 5:30 workouts, you could still read later and later and later and get tutors and help. So it was more of a community, and that it wasn't just your team and your coach, but all of Vanderbilt athletics and all of the university who were committed to helping you succeed. That also took to another level of learning leadership and strength. And like Bob Asher, which I didn't know until tonight, we had a coaching change from freshman year to sophomore year. And that was only made possible from another strong athletic director, Roy Kramer, who went on to lead the SEC. Again, transformative change, you're seeing over and over again a pattern. So a new coach came in, and sophomore year, everything changed. And it just so happens the coach, Jeremy Ogden, and the team aren't here this weekend because they're at SEC championships this very weekend, which is where I earned my first SEC championship 39, not 40, but 39 years ago this very weekend. It was February 20th and 21st. We won't use the name, right? But that changed everything, and I'm amazingly fortunate. I didn't think these things were possible, but All-American, went to Olympic trials in '88, number of years in NCAAs. And it's gratifying, and it was wonderful at the time. But it was, again, just a sliver, because Vanderbilt opened my eyes to so much more that would come next, that I probably wouldn't have had those doors open in the same way. I learned all those things you can put on a pillow about how life is hard and you can push through anything. But it helped me set unattainable goals that somehow I kept getting them and achieving them and setting new ones. So I'm very excited also to share the stage with a fellow athlete, and Dr. Lee, and I want to recognize and champion how excited I am about her focus and the university's focus for women's athletics. I am so grateful to be an athlete. I'm so grateful to my parents for instilling these values, because it's time management, it's leadership, it's goal setting, it's so many things, more than what I was doing in a pool, right? It's made all the difference that I didn't know was possible. So I am excited about the Anchor for Her campaign. I think it's critical for women, so please encourage your daughters, no matter if they're good or not, just get them in there, on the pool, on the track, on the tennis court, whatever. And finally, thank you to my parents and my family and Susanna. And while athletes, while I'm extremely honored to be here and to be a part of this amazing group of fellow Commodore athletes, I am more grateful and more humbled for what Vanderbilt has done for me. So thank you.
The last time Memorial Gym rocked like it does these days, Christina Fogi had probably just drained another three-pointer on the way to another NCAA tournament. In a women's basketball program with no shortage of scoring legends, only 6 Commodores ever scored more career points than Fogi's 1,743 between 2011 and 2014. Little wonder the Doors amassed a mighty 82-47 record while she was on campus. Fogi was a first-team All-SEC selection in 2012 and 2014, also earning WBCA All-Region honors in both seasons. The program's all-time leader in three-pointers. She also ranks number 6 in career free throws. Christina was selected by the Minnesota Lynx in the second round of the 2014 WNBA draft.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Christina Fogi.
It's always good to be back in Nashville. First, I want to begin by thanking Dr. Candace Story-Lee and the Hall of Fame Committee for this incredible honor. It truly means more than I can put into words to be included in this year's class. I also want to congratulate my fellow inductees. It's been an absolute privilege to be recognized alongside all of you. For all of us, like we had mentioned earlier, it has certainly taken a village to get to this point, and I'm so very blessed to have mine here with me to celebrate this weekend. My mom, Nicola, my rock, she was the person I could call for anything, also the person who would hop on a flight at any given moment when I needed a piece of home to come to Nashville. She was also the one that would slip me a little bit of allowance money whenever I wanted to go to the Green Hills Mall, so I certainly welcome that as well. Thanks, Mom. My dad, James, my lifelong teacher, some of the best conversations I have had were with you. You've never failed to empower me to not only be the best basketball player, but the best woman that I can be. Many of the lessons I carry with me today came from conversations we'd have on countless car rides together to basketball tournaments during my formative years. And my older brother, Jim, our first collegiate basketball player in our family. You've paved the way in literally every aspect of my life. My own basketball journey began because I just wanted to chase around behind him at our neighborhood courts. Just wanted to be in your presence. There has never been anything in my life that you haven't supported, and I'm truly grateful for our bond. My extended family, some of which who are in attendance tonight, I want to thank you for following me on all the live streams and the game casts, since I played well before all of the wonderful digital options that exist for all the games nowadays. You didn't have to make the effort to keep up with my career being 13 hours away from home, but you did it anyway, and I'm so grateful for every bit of that support. My coaches, some that are in attendance tonight, Coach Melanie Balcom and assistant coaches Tom Garrick, Ashley Early, Kim Roseman, and Vicki Pikett, I could not be more grateful for you guys. Your belief in me at this level is everything I've ever needed. If there's one thing that I know, it's that you all never let me settle for less than my potential. Countless film sessions, hours in the office, and aspirational conversations that led me to heights I had never imagined, including hearing my name called during the WNBA draft. To my teammates, while wins and losses certainly measure our time in Memorial, it's the sisterhood, the family environment that we built together that carries with me to this day. I want to make a special shout out to my classmate and point guard, Jasmine Lister. She was the California cool to my East Coast stubbornness. We really went through it all, from our time as freshman roommates on the Commons to being captains together as seniors. I really couldn't have done it without her. I love all my teammates, and I'm really proud of where life has taken us post-graduation. My support staff, Michelle Loftus, Tash Weddle, Christy Hogan, thank you for putting so much effort into helping me be the best student and athlete I could be during my time on campus. Some of you may not know, I actually missed 16 games in my career because of a series of injuries, and it was my support staff that really helped me through those trying times. Lastly, to our current head coach, Shay Ralph, thank you for not only steering our women's basketball program to new heights amidst one of the most successful seasons in program history, but for providing me the opportunity to serve as your chief of staff during the first 3 seasons of this new era. The opportunity to mentor this next generation of women's basketball players was extremely special for me, and an experience that I will never forget. I'm forever grateful. Finally, I want to paint a picture for you all quickly. I first stepped foot on campus as a recruit to witness one of the most electric wins in program history. Our Commodores in January of 2009 beat the Lady Vols in front of 10,000 fans in Memorial Gymnasium. It was so electric that I can still feel the environment to this day. On my flight back to New Jersey, I was quite literally clutching my recruiting folder because I knew this place was home. See, we all know that memorial magic feels like during a game. However, what I hadn't realized was the feeling that had hit me when I was on my visit was a type of magic that would live with me long after the last buzzer had sounded during my career. To me, Vanderbilt has been more than an institution. I think we are a movement. We are leaders, innovators, professional athletes, and a united community. So I am beyond proud to continue to represent the Black and Gold in this next chapter of life. So thank you again for this incredible honor, and I'm extremely humbled to be a part of this amazing group. Anchor down.
A star right from the start of his Vanderbilt career, Tony Kemp was the 2011 SEC Freshman of the Year, a first-team freshman All-American, and first-team All-Conference in his debut season. Even more accolades followed, highlighted by being named SEC Player of the Year in 2013 after hitting .391. Kemp was also honored that season as a first-team All-American at All-SEC, part of the league's All-Defensive Team and SEC All-Tournament, and then was named to the All-Tournament team at the College World Series, the first trip to Omaha for the Vandy Boys program. Selected by the Houston Astros in the 5th round of the 2013 MLB Draft, Kemp played more than 700 games with the Astros, the Chicago Cubs, the Oakland Athletics, and the Baltimore Orioles. Noted for his significant community work in Nashville and around the country, Kemp was a 4-time nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Tony Kemp.
All right. 5'6", okay. All right. First off, I want to congratulate all the other Hall of Fame inductees. What a tremendous honor to be inducted with such an amazing group of people. I would like to thank God for giving me these special abilities and to be able to showcase them on the biggest stages. To my mom and dad, I can't thank you enough for molding me into the man I am today. Mom, you've been my biggest cheerleader since day one, and you always gave great advice after good games and even after the bad ones. Dad, I'll always have the memories of you videotaping my games from the stands in your work outfit coming from Cat Financial on West End. Now with kids of my own, I can't wait to pass on that legacy. I love you two very much, and I'm proud to be your son. To my big bro, Corey, I'm not gonna cry, okay? To my big bro, Corey, you paved the way for me, man. You taught me how to swing a bat, shoot a basketball, catch a football the right way. You always let me tag along with your friends who are 6 years older than me and allowed me to play on your team in the backyard against them. I appreciate you. If it wasn't for you, Corey, my life would look completely different. Thank you for not just being my brother, but also my best friend. To my wife, Michelle, AKA Mish, what a story we have together. We started dating in November of 2011 and had a long-distance relationship because you were enrolled at the best radio and television arts university in Canada. Your senior year at college, you decided to take an internship at News Channel 5 here in Nashville in 2013. Once I was able to be in your presence daily, there's no surprise to why that was the best baseball season I've ever had in my life. As long as we are a team together, there's nothing our family can't accomplish. To watch you as a mom to McKenna and Naomi, I get to watch a true blessing every day. I love you, babe. To Maggie and Tim Corbin, no disrespect, Tim, but Maggie is the true mastermind behind the scenes. She runs the show. Ever since I met you two guys, you've stayed the same and always taken care of the people around you. Corbs, I always think about that conversation we had in your office my junior year. You asked me, if this was your last year at Vanderbilt, how would you treat it? That conversation changed the course of how I viewed everything my final year. I cared about baseball, but the question made me truly Just want to enjoy my teammates like Conrad Gregor, who's here tonight. Because it would be the final time playing with each guy on the diamond, and I truly wanted to make it special. And even though I stand at 5'6", you always told me I play like I'm 6'5". The confidence you gave me will never go away, and I still feel it to this day. I love you both dearly. And to Candace Lee, everyone mentions her, and there's a reason why. Give it up. I'll never forget being on my balcony at home and looking down at my phone and receiving your phone call. I answered, I said, for you, I pick up on the first ring. I've always cherished our friendship, and to see everything you've done for this university is truly amazing and inspiring. But I always knew the vision you had for this university, and to see the ideas you had in your brain, bring them to life. If you need an assistant one day, remember, I'm retired now. For me, growing up in Franklin, Tennessee, just 30 minutes south of Vanderbilt, was a huge blessing. So much of my family could attend all the games, along with my elementary, middle, and high school teachers. Once I got into professional baseball, I started to understand the impact of this program's reputation. Oh, he went to Vanderbilt. And that was the biggest compliment you could ever receive. Because people all around the world know if you came here, you're a very unique human being. The people at Vanderbilt is what makes this place so special, and I'm honored to be attached to the Gold V for the rest of my life. Anchor down.
Tony Coon was the most highly decorated player in the history of Vanderbilt men's soccer. Playing under Hall of Fame coach Randy Johnson, Coon set single season and career goal and assist records for the Commodores. With Coon leading the attack from 1994 through 97, Vanderbilt compiled a 42-28-7 record, among the winningest four-year stretches in program history, and won the 1996 Sun Belt Conference regular season championship. He was honored as an NSCAA first-team All-American in 1996 and a second-team All-American in 97. Selected by the Nashville Metros in the first round of the 1998 United Soccer League draft, Coon went on to play in the MLS with the Chicago Fire and the New England Revolution, as well as in the Premier Development League and the USL A-League.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Tony Coon.
Thank you, everyone. What a great honor. Tremendously proud to be here and just excited that Candace gave me that phone call. And the trajectory of Vanderbilt Athletics right now is pretty impressive. So I'm proud to be a part of that legacy. 30-something years ago now, I just turned 50. I'm excited to be here and be a part of it. So thank you for her, the fellow nominees, everything everyone's accomplished. Congrats to all of us. I had something written down, but I might go a little bit off script here in a few things. I thought of a story, and I was just reminded from one of my teammates who I haven't seen in a while about our first game, my first game at Vanderbilt. So when I was coming out of high school, 17, 18 years old, just probably cockier than I was good. But I was looking at Brown University, Clemson, and Vanderbilt. And Brown felt like holy academics, and the girls there weren't that cute. Clemson was preseason number 1 in the country, and I was really kind of leaning towards that. And my dad and a couple other people said, all right, you're going to be a soccer player for a while, and then you got to, as Bob Asher said, be a normal person. And thank God I made that decision and chose Vanderbilt between all of that, because it was great academics, great athletics. Unfortunately, our first game at Vanderbilt my freshman year was against Clemson at Clemson. My parents drove down 13 hours from Memphis. They kicked off, and in 27 seconds, without us touching the ball, they scored the first goal. 90 minutes later, it was 8-0. They played Mama Said There'll Be Days Like This 7 times. I looked at my mom in the crowd and I was like, what did I do? And then fast forward 32 years and presenting this medallion and the life that I have, and I'll get into, my family here in a little bit. But my dad nudged me and said, aren't you glad you didn't go to Clemson? And yes, I am. So Vanderbilt through and through was the right decision, even from that day forward. Has just been a very important part of my life and why I'm here today and have the life that we have today. So thank you to Dr. Candace Lee for everything she's done, the athletic department, and a special thanks to the women's head coach, Darren Ambrose, and their program, who's been on an amazing upswing. And the coolest thing about Darren is that he has really folded the men's alumni back into the program of athletics for the women's team, which is important. So I feel like I'm representing all the men's soccer players that came before me, and I feel very proud and humbled and honored to kind of wear that for all of those hundreds of guys that came before us. So I'd like to thank my family, first of all. My parents are here. My first coach was my dad till I was 12 or 14 years old, and always just gave me such a great foundation, my dad, Brian, and kind of encouraged me and has given me kind of the moral compass of what to do with my life. So thank you. My mom has always been my biggest fan, even when I didn't deserve it, which was a lot growing up. She was also my first training table. Before Magic was there for the training table, my mom was there making me eat the right things and always encouraging me. So thank you. My brothers, I'm the youngest of 3 brothers. My 2 older brothers always beat me up and encouraged me and pushed me. And I would not be here without trying to keep up with them. I was 4 years younger than my oldest brother, 2 years than my middle brother, so I was always just tagging along, trying to keep up, and that helped me compete with guys my age. I was like, oh, wow, they're not quite as strong as you guys. So that was awesome. My wife, Amanda, is my rock and my newest coach, which I always need, and has really helped us create a great family and put me on the right track. So it was a blessing for me, and I thank you every day for what you do for us. My son, Bennett, who's 13, and my son, Deacon. Deacon, stand up. He's got a 12th birthday tomorrow. Deacon! He asked me to not say that tonight. So thank you, guys. You actually inspire me to be a better person every single day. The one thing I wanted to think about moving on to kind of soccer and my time here at Vanderbilt was we had a great time here while we were here. Some of the winningest times we had in the program's history. We won our Sun Belt Conference Championship, and we did win the SEC Championship all 4 years. There happened to only be one team, Kentucky, but we beat them every year. So we won 2 conference championships a few years. But we had great times, great teammates. Honored to be here for them also and what we accomplished. But the thing I was thinking about when I was like, what could I say, was there was a lot of small things. There's big things, there's training, there's commitment and things you learn in sports. But it's also small things that probably a lot of people don't know that it influences someone. And Coach Johnson, Randy Johnson, who's here, who played here, started the program, was coach for 273 years, I think. But is Vanderbilt men's soccer. Coach Johnson was our coach, and it's all the things he did for us that were not only soccer lessons, but life lessons and growing men and thinking about who you're going to be after this when you become that normal person. But the thing that I remembered and I wanted to say was, and he doesn't know this yet, but there was a spring training in the football field when they had that horrible AstroTurf that was like 1/4 of an inch thick and felt like cement when you ran on it. We were training, and I was a sophomore. I didn't have a great sophomore season. And we were training the spring season, and we were sitting there in a training drill, and I was getting frustrated not winning this drill, and he kind of pulled me aside, and he's like, hey, I just want to tell you that there was this one guy who played here a while ago named Dave Wegrett, and he was so great because in every drill we did, he learned the rules of the game, and he used those rules of the game to his advantage or to inform how he's going to play or train a drill, a game, and he won every game. And I was like, huh. So I started thinking about the games they're playing, where the ball's set up, if you take 2 touches or 3 touches, and where you have to be to get the next ball. You might even stagger your shot to get closer to the next ball. But it's things that you don't think about. There's 25 guys out there training, but there's one guy out there who's thinking about every minor detail. And that spring season when I was 19 years old, from that moment on, every time I played a game, had a drill, had a practice, I started thinking about every minor detail and what I could do. And I haven't stopped thinking about that since that day, for life, for work, for tax code, for developing real estate, whatever. Can I learn the rules of the game and inform my behavior to kind of be the one that's like using those little tiny bits of information to make the best of it. So that was something that, like, as a coach, you probably don't even remember. I don't know, but it's these little things. And when I'm talking to kids that I'm coaching or in my work life now and talking to people, always trying to contribute and be like a good example for people. There might be a nugget that I don't even know is important to someone, but that was really important to me and something that he did for me. So it was forever informed kind of who I am today and how I think about every task that I undertake. So I wanted to pass that story along. I thought it was an interesting little tidbit. Let's see, I did have some notes here. I guess the last thing is that I was lucky enough to secure a lot of records at Vanderbilt and still hold those today. And I really hope one day that I don't hold those records. So I sincerely want, not next year or the next year, but 20 years from now for there to be another men's Vanderbilt soccer program to take those records. So thank you so much. Anchor down.
Men's tennis great Ryan Litman completed his time at Vanderbilt with more combined singles and doubles victories than any student athlete in program history. Litman still ranks second in career combined wins, 5th in singles and 4th in doubles. He was named the SEC Freshman of the Year, the ITA Ohio Valley Region Rookie of the Year, and received first-team All-SEC honors in 2010. Then was again a first-team All-Conference selection as a sophomore. But the Nashville native's most impressive feats came after an injury that cost him his entire junior season. Returning to the court, Litman earned first-team All-SEC honors for the 3rd time in 2013, was second-team All-Conference in 2014, and a first-team All-American in both seasons. Far from one-dimensional, he was also honored as a 2-time winner of the region's Arthur Ashe Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Ryan Litman.
Wow, what an honor. There he is. There he is, right there. TK, everybody. Now, before I get going, I want to give a huge shout out to Dr. Candace Lee for the amazing job she's doing at Vanderbilt right now. It's truly incredible. So congratulations, Candace. First, I want to thank all the other inductees tonight into the Hall of Fame. It's truly an incredible honor and a job well done. So great job, everybody. For me, this is a little extra special. For those of you that don't know, Vanderbilt's a part of my DNA. It's part of kind of who I was before I was even here. You see, my mom, she played tennis here at Vanderbilt in the 80s. My parents, they met on the courts outside at the tennis facility. I was born at Vanderbilt Hospital. Through and through, I'm a Vanderbilt guy. I had my first tennis lesson on court 4 inside with the late, great Bill Tim. I used to attend the Vanderbilt tennis camps when I was a kid with Jeff McDonald. And then I would come and support the men's and women's programs, Sarah Risk. I used to come and watch you play when I was a kid growing up. And then in 2009, I got my opportunity to rep the black and gold for the first time. And that right there was a dream come true. It really was. So to be here tonight as a Hall of Famer, it's like icing on the cake. It's a cherry on top. It really is. So, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all the people behind the scenes that put in some amazing work. First and foremost, my family, Mom, Marshall, y'all are here tonight, but you guys sacrificed so much for me and allowed me to pursue my dreams. And the unwavering support and love that you guys gave me and encouragement is it's not lost on me. So thank you for that. To my teammates, y'all were the best. I had the best experience playing with you guys. To my coaches, Ian, Jamie, Tom, Ian is here tonight. Man, I could go on and on about you, Ian. I really could. But I'll say this. Everyone on the outside knows you as a tennis coach. But to us, the lucky ones that got to play for you, you were a life coach. You taught us the rights and wrongs. You taught us how to go from a boy to a man. And I'm forever indebted to everything you did for me and to the Vanderbilt tennis program. Thank you. To the athletic training staff and the strength and conditioning staff, thank you. I would not be here without you. I was hurt a lot. You could find me in the training room pretty much 24/7. So thank you for stitching me together, gluing me together, taping me together so that I could compete and do what I loved. A few more people I do need to thank. 3 people in particular: David Williams, Lori Alexander, and Candace Lee. I'm pretty sure you guys pulled some strings to get me into Vanderbilt, so thank you so much. Forever indebted to you guys for that. And I have 3 final thoughts for tonight. Number 1, I need to pay homage to Coach Bill Tim. He was a coach here for 10 years. He was my tennis coach for 20 years. Sadly, he passed away about 6 weeks ago, or else he'd be sitting right there. I love you, Coach. The second thing that I want to close with is actually a request for Dr. Candace Lee. You know, we've always had an amazing relationship, joking relationship, so much fun, and we had this you call it a plus model, right? And so I was thinking, you know, maybe Hall of Famers might like this, but we do a Hall of Fame plus model where maybe we get a little swipe card for the Hendricks room. You know, TK, what do you think? What do you think? Huh? Anyway, ponder that. Yeah. Lastly, I want to thank my wife. I know we didn't know each other in college, and we met afterwards, but my life wouldn't be the same without you. I'm just so lucky to be with you and so proud of the family that we've built with our 2 little girls and our little boy on the way. So thank you. Anyways, thank you so much for this evening. This is an amazing event. Thank you, guys.
Prior to Alma Matthews arriving in 1979, Vanderbilt football had not averaged more than 178 passing yards per game in any season since the advent of detailed records in the 1940s. So it's no coincidence that a new era dawned while he was catching passes. Hauling in throws from another Hall of Famer, Whit Taylor, Matthews was an All-American and first-team All-SEC selection in 1982. His 4 touchdown catches against Virginia Tech that year stood as the program's single-game record for 23 years, and he still holds the single-season touchdown reception record with 14 in that 82 season. Matthews departed as Vanderbilt's all-time leader in TD catches and still ranks number 6, and he was named an SEC legend in 2022. Selected by the Atlanta Falcons in the 12th round of the 1983 NFL Draft, Matthews played 3 seasons in the professional ranks.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Alma Matthews.
That is nice, very nice. Well, good evening, Commodore Nation. First, I just want to thank the man upstairs for allowing me to be here today. I mean, it is just truly an honor to be standing before you and receiving this prestigious award. I want to also say congratulations to all the other inductees to be on the stage with you tonight is truly, truly humbling. And of course, the Hall of Fame committee for allowing me to be up here and inducting me in the Vanderbilt Hall of Fame. I extend my sincere congratulations again to each of you that were here tonight. And a very special thanks goes to our Vice Chancellor, Candace Stacy Lee, for all that she's done for this university, her leadership, vision, and passion that she pours into it every single day. I'm blessed to have several of my family members here tonight. My mom, whose incredible love and wisdom helped me during the time that I was here at Vanderbilt throughout my entire life. My beautiful wife, who is the glue that holds our family together. All that she does day in and day out, it's just amazing that she does what she does. And I appreciate you and love you. All my brothers and sisters that are here, my kids, wonderful and awesome children, my nieces, nephews, my aunt, who was very instrumental in me getting through Vanderbilt. As an athlete, you spend a lot of time practicing and study halling, but she was the one person that really, really got me through. Trust me when I say that. And my mother-in-law is here as well. I couldn't ask for any better support than she gives me. I'd also like to say something about my kids that are here. They're carrying on the Matthews tradition as far as sports. My oldest son played football and basketball in high school and went on to play football in college. I have a niece that just loves the game of tennis, and we're very proud of her. My youngest daughter, who my wife calls her baby, I don't think she likes that, but she was a volleyball player in high school and college, and it was a joy to go see her play. And when your playing days are over, you live through your kids, and that's exactly what I was able to do with them. I have a nephew here, Big Walt. He's continuing the Matthews tight end tradition. He's a tight end at the University of Southern California, so he joined us today, and it's always good to see him. So when I started playing football at Vanderbilt some 47 years ago, the SEC was just as dominant back then as it is here today. Every Sunday we felt like we were in a heavyweight fight. We lined up against some of the best players and teams that ever played a game. There was a coach down in Alabama by the name of Bear. Auburn had a trio of running backs, Cribbs, Brooks, and one that we know was known as Bo. Georgia had a young running back from Central Georgia by the name of Herschel. And Florida, oh man, their defense was just, a guy named Wilbur Marshall, Tony Lilly, those guys were truly, truly some of the best. So every weekend, we would battle the Giants, but we were a fist to be reckoned with. Our defense was undersized, bend but don't break, gritty and fearless. They may not have had an intimidating look getting off of the bus, but by the fourth quarter, the opponents knew exactly who they were in a fight with. So those guys, Steve, John, Willie, Glenn, Gurley, Bob, Zach, Joe, Jeff, Mike, Mark, Tim, Manuel, Tom, Clay, and Kermit. Our guys refused to back down no matter how much bigger or stronger our opponent was. Offensively, we unleashed what I would like to call the dawn of the Commodore air attack. Mid-range strikes, short passes, and the occasional stretch of the defense with the long pass. And all this started with a guy we called Houdini, which was Wit. There was Keith, Ernie, Diamond Jim, Stormin' Norman, Louie, Chuck, Phil, Bugs, Ardell, Arnaz, Pop, Sangdon, Mad Dog, Matlock, Monaco, Sample, Kathy, and our wonderful Kiki Ricky. During my junior and senior year, we led the SEC in total offense. Fun times. So as I look around the room here today, I see a few of my teammates here. Would you guys stand? You can't stand up? All right. So I see Wayman over there. Wayman, I want to thank you for teaching me what it was like to be a practice player. Practice makes perfect. So when I was a freshman, you and Preston Brown, I would try to get in. We'd be running our offensive plays. I'd try to get in, and you guys would not let me relieve you because you all knew in order to be good, you had to practice. And I want to thank you for that. And I see Rod over there. Where's Rod? Is he standing up? Okay, that was our captain. He's just as loud today as he was back in the locker room. So we had some tough times here at Vandy when I first got here. And the locker rooms was not a pleasant place. But his voice was very instrumental in instilling in everyone what we needed to do to turn this thing around. So again, Rod, I want to thank you for that. Then there's also my freshman coach. Dave, you over there? You still here? You fumbling anything? So Coach Cully was my freshman coach. So here I am, young athlete. Don't know anything about reading coverages, running routes, setting up an opponent, settling in whenever we're reading routes. And Coach, you taught me so much, and it stayed with me throughout my career. And I'm forever, forever grateful for that. Because, as we all know, football is a team sport. Even though this is an individual honor that I'm receiving tonight, I would not be here without those guys and my teammates. So my time at Vanderbilt was not always good. My sophomore year became a low point. I had some injuries, and the coaches had lost confidence in me. It had gotten so low until I was demoted to the scout team and not even traveling with the team on weekends. So during that time, I remember making a phone call to my mom, telling her that I didn't think things were going to work out here at Vanderbilt. And as moms do, she kind of said, well, it's something that you want to think about, maybe finish the semester. And then after that, we can kind of figure out what route you want to take. That's the best advice I'd ever gotten, and I thank you for that great advice, because I would not be here standing before you today. So there's always that one person that comes along in your life that believes in you more than you believe in yourself, that sees something in you that you don't see in yourself, and is able to push you to levels that you never dreamed possible. And that person for me was Coach Watson Brown. So when Coach Brown came on campus in the spring of my, going into spring of my sophomore year, that was a turnaround for me. I had talked to Coach Brown earlier this month, and he had planned on being here. Then he called me back about a week later, and he calls me Alma. Alma, man, you know, there ain't much that could have kept me from your induction. But that weekend is my wife and I's 53rd wedding anniversary. So I'm going to be out of town. So I said, Coach, I understand. Trust me. But if he were here, I would definitely give him just an unbelievable amount of love, because without him, I would not be standing here. To the players here tonight, I just want to say it is truly, truly a blessing to be up here. And as any young players in this audience know, that you learn from your team, you lean on your teammates and your family, trust your God-given gifts, and when setbacks come, because they will, remember that sometimes the greatest seasons of your life begin right after your lowest moments. Thank you, and anchor down.
A starter in 114 of his 124 career appearances for the Commodores, Ronnie McMahan ranks 5th in Vanderbilt men's basketball history with 1,719 career points, and was second only to Vanderbilt Hall of Famer Phil Cox at the time he played his last game in 1995. Arriving in Nashville only 5 years after the three-pointer was formally adopted in NCAA basketball, McMahan excelled from long range and still ranks third in program history in career three-pointers and ninth in single-season threes. And he also ranks seventh in program history in career steals. McMahan was an important player on Vandy's 1993 team that made a run to the Sweet 16 and then made a smooth transition into the leading role to average 18 points per game as a senior. The Middle Tennessee native, who also starred at McMinn County High School, has remained a fixture in the area as associate dean and coach at Montgomery Bell Academy.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Ronnie McMahan.
Summer 1990. I was a late bloomer, so to speak, basketball-wise. I go to a camp in Georgia, down in Tipton, Georgia, below Macon. And at this camp, the college coaches are there to watch players. I paid my $350 to go down to participate in this camp. And while I'm there, it goes from Tuesday to Friday. And so I get there on a Tuesday night. I play games Tuesday night. I'm not very good. I'm trash, quite honestly. I'm nervous. I'm, unsettled, unbothered. I'm bothered. And so fast forward to Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning, I get up and we have a practice. So it's a group of guys that we don't know each other, put a team together. The coach that is watching over us, we draw a couple plays, and then we play. And so Wednesday morning, after practice, we had a competition, a hot shot competition. And I guess you can tell I like to shoot. And so in the hot shot competition, I scored the most points in a minute out of the rest of our group, of our team. And so that kind of helped me settle down. And so for the rest of the day, I started making shots and started feeling like I belonged. And so this is where Vanderbilt starts coming into the fold. As a kid from East Tennessee who didn't have any offers, after one of those games on Wednesday, I walk into a hallway and I hear a kid said, "Hey, what's your name?" And I turn and look at him. Now, my friends in the room know I don't really do random people when they say stuff to me. I'm kind of standoffish. I kind of look back, and I got big eyes, so my eyes get big. And so I look at him, asking him, what do you need? He said, "I need to know what your name is." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, there's two coaches up top from Vanderbilt that like you, and they want to know what your name is and your phone number." Now, there was no cell phone back then, and so I said, "Oh, okay." Well, I came down here to get some college coaches looking at me. And where'd you say they're from? He said, "Vanderbilt." And I'm thinking, do they play basketball at Vanderbilt? Everybody's smart, but do they play? Oh, well, all right. So I give this kid, who I don't know, my home number. And so I leave from that conversation for a second thinking, all right, I got some coaches looking at me. So I'm feeling good. Fast forward to the afternoon session. All right, we have afternoon session of practice with our team. Our coach now has a manila folder with some sheets of paper that has, our names, our stats, our measurements, kind of stuff on it, because he's trying to draw up a play for practice. Now, as I said, I got big eyes. So when I see him open this manila folder, and I first see my name, and so I see Ronnie, and then he says, "Hey, are you Ronnie McMahan?" So at that point, have y'all seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan? Y'all know when Michael, they ask him or say things to him that, he takes it personal when you don't do it right. So I kind of looked at him like, okay. And so then I keep reading the stats. So it says 6'4", 145 pounds. I was a little light. But then it got to the point, this is where things went left and out of hand for me mentally. So it said talent level. Your highest talent level can you get to? And he had mid-major. And so I immediately, now I got to prove to this dude that I can actually play. So we finish practice. We get in the afternoon session. We start having games, and I get active. I start using my hands, getting steals. I get blocks. I'm scoring the ball, so I'm feeling good. And so this is another point when Vanderbilt, now they've been looking at me, supposedly. And so I have a play in one of these games where I get a steal or block I take the ball. I'm driving down left side. Defender's on this side, so I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. I look at the rim. I said, oh, this is about to happen. And so I open my eyes and I dunk it. And so unlike the kids now today, when they do something like that, you know, they got the hand tap or, you know, a bunch of signs or whatever they do. That was my face. And so the bench was going crazy. Everybody's losing their minds, and I'm trying to, you know, stay composed. And so at this point, I feel like, all right, I've arrived, because now I've dunked on somebody, I'm scoring, I'm playing. I'm going to prove to this guy I'm not just a mid-major level player. Now, here's what Coach Fogler and his other partner, Coach Callahan's not here. So the first time I meet them, one of them is standing in the hallway. I'm going to say it's Coach Fogler. I can't remember if it's him or Coach Callahan. But if you know Coach Fogler or Coach Callahan, they both from New York. When they get excited, they use four-letter French words, I like to call it. So at one point, I walk out this hallway to get some water in the same area where the kids stopped me. I hear somebody say, Ronnie McMahan, French word. And I look, kind of stumble, like, oh. He said, holy moly, French word. And I was like, French word is a cuss word is what I did, but we'll just keep it, you know, PG. So then Coach asked me about my GPA, do I like school, my family? And then he asked me, he's like, is anyone recruiting you? And I said, no, not really. I've gotten a couple of letters and phone calls from a school in East Tennessee. I like to call them Orange Sherbet. We won't mention that name. But I could look at him and tell that in his mind at that point in time, he was thinking, I might have opportunity. And so my recruitment started from there. Coach Fogler and Coach Callahan, Coach Doherty would call me and check on me, tell me the importance of how much they needed a player like me, because another thing about Coach Fogler, he's got, you know, he's polished when it comes to recruitment and the words he uses. And so he said, Ronnie, you know, have you seen us play? And I'm thinking, nah, not really. Not really. I'm from East Tennessee. I haven't looked that far over. And he said, you know, I'm really looking for some athletic players. Y'all know what athletic means, right? We need some brothers. Now, Coach Fogler didn't say that. Coach Callahan did. Coach Callahan would call me and say, hey, Ronnie, you know, we need some brothers, you know what I mean? We need to get you over here. So fast forward to the week that it's time for me to sign to go to college. And so my three choices were Orange Sherbet and NC State and Vandy. And so on a Monday, my high school point guard's here, my cousin who was our center on my team, and my other cousin who played football at TSU, we're all walking through the hallways before school starts. And so on Monday of signing week, they come and get me and say, Ronnie, have you seen the Knoxville News Sentinel? And I'm thinking, no, why? They said, all right, you need to come check it. So I go walk down, look at the newspaper, and I see 2 bums had committed and signed with Orange Sherbet. And so I look at them, they look at me like, what you gonna do? I said, oh, that's off the table. Look at God. I'm like, hey, don't need Orange Sherbet. So that's out the way. So then we move to, my decision comes down to NC State or Vanderbilt. And so I don't know if my uncle remembers this, he's here. So on Tuesday morning, I woke up and I said, Unc, I think I'm going to NC State. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I think so. He said, did you pray about it? I said, not yet. He said, well, why don't you do that? So I go away thinking I got another day. And then, you know, at the time that night when I prayed to help me figure out what I wanted to do, I was looking for discernment. I didn't know that word then, I know it now. And so when I woke up that next morning, there was something in my gut that just said, this black and gold is what it is. And so my uncle, I got up, got ready for school, and I heard my uncle say, hey, nephew, what you gonna do? And I said, it's Vandy. He said, you sure? I said, yeah. He said, you pray about it? I said, yep. He said, all right, you gotta call them. I said, call who? He said, you gotta call the schools. You gotta call Vanderbilt. So I proceeded to call Coach Fogler. Guess what he said? French words. Get your letter of intent in and let's do this thing. I have never looked back. The rest of the day, I signed my letter of intent. My family was there. That night, I think God knew that I needed something else to secure my feeling, and that night I scored 45 points, career leading scorer in school history, and so I've never looked back since I've been here at Vanderbilt. And now look where I am, fast forward today. My family, many over here, many who are not here for other reasons, have always been there and been my support. My friends who are my family, there's plenty in this room that I met before I got to Vanderbilt, my days at Vanderbilt, and even after Vanderbilt with what the stuff I'm dealing with now in my life. But I wouldn't be here without them supporting me in my good and bad, cussing me out when I needed to, fussing at me when I didn't shoot enough, getting after me and picking me up when I needed a hug, whatever it was. You know, I cherish them and thank them. To my beautiful son, love him. To Miss Ann Neely, who was the dean of Vanderbilt here. She was the one that kept me in school when I was playing basketball. People don't know this, but when I left, I didn't get my degree. I just ran and started playing basketball. And she would call or write or email or page me, because I had a pager. When are you coming back to school? When I came back to school, she was very instrumental in me getting my degree. Now that I am here, I'm so forever indebted for that. To the Hall of Fame committee, thank you. To all the other recipients, thank you. Congratulations to yourselves for being here. I think the reason I'm here is because records and stats are made to be broken, but it's the memories that you'll never forget. And I've been blessed to be able to have some great memories, and I guess I created memories for a lot of people, because everywhere I go, when I'm here in the city or if I'm in different places, they remind me of that. And now I'm forever anchored down. Thank you.
Fearsome linebacker who didn't wait for opponents to get to the line of scrimmage. Jamie Winborn is Vanderbilt's all-time and single-season leader in tackles for loss. A Football News second-team All-American in 1999, he was a consensus AP and coach's first-team All-SEC selection that same season. He also earned first-team All-Conference honors in 2000 and second-team and All-Freshman honors in the SEC in 1998. Chosen in the second round of the 2001 NFL Draft, Winborn played 10 seasons in the league with the San Francisco 49ers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Denver Broncos, and the Tennessee Titans. He was named an SEC legend in 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Jamie Winborn.
Wow. Can y'all hear me out there? Yeah. It's a whole lot different up here than it is out there sitting out there, I can tell you that. Man, where do I start here? Just like to thank God, first of all. I don't know, man. The person that y'all see, everybody knows I don't really, prepare speeches. Never did, never will, probably will. But anyway. No, seriously, because I don't know what I did to deserve this life. I really don't. I just think that it has to be my family praying for me. All I think I did was just try to take the best advice that people would give me throughout my life, and that would be from a lot of people. I'll go through that in a second. Just try to put my best foot forward and try to do the right thing. and just kind of follow a certain creed of giving it your all, never giving up, all the cliches that people talk about all the time. I'm kind of a result of that. I got to thank, first of all, my lovely mother that's sitting over there, Miss Rosa Winborn, who, by the way, I couldn't beat her running for quite some time. She's pretty fast, y'all, but I can beat her now. But, I have my wonderful family over there. My family's been my rock. They just always stress to me, take advantage of opportunity and, always be a good person and stuff like that. I got my kids here. Most of my kids are here. One of them just had to catch a flight, but the rest of them are here. My Aunt Kim, Taylor, Elmi, Layla, SJ, my mom, and my Aunt Cynthia, and my Uncle Scooter, Scooter, Archie Winborn. But they were really instrumental in my life too. Just stayed on me and just telling me, you could accomplish something, but you got to do the right thing and you gotta give it your all. And that's kind of where Vanderbilt came about. Well, actually, I'll go back to high school first. Got to thank all of the people back in Wetumpka. I don't know if any of y'all know where that's at, but we had the casino not too far, but it's Wetumpka down by Montgomery, and still it's crazy when I think about it. Still to this day, I'm still like the first person, and still the first and only person to ever step foot on an NFL football field from my hometown. And what's significant about that? Yes, it's really crazy. Sometimes I can't believe it, but what's most significant about that is that I was just playing football because I just thought, some guy said he could beat me, and I said, no, the hell you can't. You're gonna have to prove it, and so that's what I did. I mean, I didn't really know. I'd never known a pro player or anything like that. I didn't really watch a lot of football like that. I didn't do any of that. I just thought that anything I try to do, I try to do to my best. And to be honest with you, I was way better at baseball than I ever was at football. And for some strange reason, I quit. I said, I'm just going to play football. Now, my uncle, I will give him his props. He told me, you should play baseball, boy. You should play baseball. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want to play baseball. I'm playing football. And so one day, I'll never forget this. This is crazy here. I was playing for the Broncos, and so I'm sitting in there. I think Jay was in there. Jay Cutler was there, too. He was quarterback at that time. And I'm looking at the news, and I'm just putting my shoes on, and I see a guy named Vernon Wells, who I played with in high school out in Texas. He signed a contract for I think it was like $170 million or something, and I was like, and I'm just here on like a 2-year, $4 million deal. Like, what the hell am I thinking? That's what I'm serious. I was like, man, that was a rough practice that day. I was pissed at everybody. I really was, and I was like, oh, my uncle, man, he told me. Seriously, I retired. He was still playing. I was like, golly, but I mean, I got to thank also my in high school, I had so many people just telling me, man, just try to do the best you can do. Just stay on the right track. Just keep working hard, this and that. And like I said, I didn't know I was going to be a ball player. I was just playing football. The truth is I wanted to go and be a Marine. That's what I wanted to do. I was an ROTC and all of that. Not that I didn't believe in myself in football. It's just that I don't know anybody that's ever made it in football. So, it's kind of far-fetched to think about that. And so then I was getting recruited and stuff, and I think it was UAB first. Yeah, it was UAB, I think, first. And so I go down there, and of course, they wine and dine you. They gave me a steak. I said, I'll be here. I'm just saying, seriously, it was a nice steak. I loved it. They treat you real nice when they want you. And so, okay, so cool. So, okay, I was like, all right, I was committed. All right. So then my coach comes in there, and he was like, well, it's Arkansas. You should just take a visit to Arkansas. I said, well, I already committed to UAB. He said, well, just take a visit to Arkansas. So I went to Arkansas, and guess what they gave me? a steak. And it was really nice, and they had some guys there and stuff, and you know, and I was like, well, okay, I'll come here then. And I remember my aunt, I think she's like, boy, you just can't be committing to everybody like that. And I was like, well, hell, they keep giving me steaks. That's their fault. They knew I was committed already. And so all of that happens, and then all of a sudden, Coach John Mataloni, at my high school, I had so many great people, Miss Shrell, Miss Folkman, just Coach Bazemore, all kinds of people were just awesome to me, man. What you're seeing is a combination of a whole bunch of people getting together and saying, hey, we think this kid has a shot at something. And hell, I didn't even know if I saw that, what they saw, but they thought that this kid had some potential, and they poured into me, and I just gave them everything I had, right? And so all of a sudden, we had this tight end named Reed Tankersley. I still talk to Reed to this day. He gone to Auburn, and Reed was a tight end, but he also played defensive end. So that's how Vandy found me. Is they were looking at, if I understand the story correctly, they were looking at Reed on defense, and all of a sudden they called back saying, well, who is this number 42? And so that's how I got here, and they offered me. I think I came on a visit and everything was cool, but I'll tell you, got back. I'm sorry. When Coach said Vanderbilt to me for the first time, I said, who? And he was like, Vanderbilt. I said, well, what the hell is that? I said, do they have football? What's going on? I didn't know. I knew nothing about it. But lo and behold, that's just me in my little world, what I'm doing. I'm in the country, in the woods. I don't do all that. I just run around seriously, I just run around the dirt road and keep running, and that's what we do, you know. But my coaches and my family knew that the school was real prestigious, education-wise, and all of that. And, you know, and my family's always said that education is key. You know, you could get hurt anytime and all of that, and I believe that. And I said, you know, well, if y'all say that, and my coach says, you know, I think you should leave that Marine stuff alone and try football. You know, I trusted him enough too, and plus him and my family telling me that it's probably a good thing to do. And so I just said, okay, well, hell, I'm going to Vanderbilt, right? And I said, well, what damn conference is it in anyway? You know, I said, but they said SEC, and I'm like, oh, okay. And which brings me to, like, my motto about ball, you know. Okay, it's the SEC, right? Okay, I'm like, okay, cool. Because when I go and play a team out of town or anything, I don't care who you came to see. You're going to see me. No, I mean, I'm saying, that's just the way it is, you know. And by the way, I play for Vanderbilt. So that's what you're getting. You're going to get the best out of it. And that was my mentality that, you know, all that big name stuff and all of that, you know, they knew who was going to win. We wouldn't even play the game. But I just was real thankful for Vanderbilt. When I got here, I had tremendous support from everybody, man. I mean, from my academics to my football. You know, my football, when I got here, I was going to go all out. That's what I did. Anybody knows me, I don't really have like an 80, 90. I have 110, 110. That's what I do. I don't like anybody when I'm playing defense. That's the way I play that game. And I play to the end. I don't care about the scoreboard, any of that. by the time I end the game, all I wanted you to do was to shake my hand and say, you know what, I respect you, and I like the way you play the game. That's all I cared about. And Vanderbilt gave that to me. They gave me the opportunity. I'm forever loyal for that. I'm proud of what, you know, Candace, you guys have done. I've seen how it's changed, and I'm really excited for the future here at Vanderbilt. You know, winning is big. Winning is everything to me. I didn't get to win very many games when I was here, by the way. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell y'all this. You know, I had a lot of good people and stuff, and I love my teammates and stuff, but I just didn't. I won more games in my first years in the pros than I did my entire college career. I was like, this is gonna be easy. The next year, it was not. But like I said, I met so many good people here. I know I'm running time-wise, but I met so many good people here at Vanderbilt, you know. I'm from a little town called Wetumpka, you know. It's kind of a mixed race town. Hell, we got all the races and stuff here now, but I'm just saying, you know, that's what it is. But when I came to Vanderbilt, I met so many good people of all different creeds and stuff, you know. You had some idiots. You're always gonna have that, but that's life, right? You know, but there was a lot of good people here. And, you know, it opened my eyes to a lot, and I was just, you know, just happy to be able to even meet these people and be around people. And like I said, Vandy's been so good to me. You know what I mean? Anything I ask for, they do it. You know what I mean? And you know, I just love what's going on with the athletics, you know, the athletic department in all sports. You know what I mean? I see a rise in it. You know, I'll never forget one day when I was redshirted, and we were playing UT, and I wasn't able to play that time, but I was redshirted. So I remember one of the guys out in the stands. He told me, he said, "Hey, Winborn." He said, "Hey, Winborn, in what did he say, 5 minutes, you can go on back home and study." And I was like, what the hell is he talking about, right? And I just thought that, how dare somebody think that just because I can add that I can't play football? Now, I couldn't play, I was redshirted. I've never forgot that my entire time. If you ever go and look at the games, when we play UT, that's one team I'm gonna be ready to play. That's one team. I know we're running out of time, but I'm just saying this team, I gave everything I had to it, this school, you know what I mean? I really did. And just to be honored as a Hall of Fame, and she didn't tell y'all she gave y'all a glimpse of the call when she called me. So she calls me and she's like, "Hey, Jamie, you know, you want to come spend a weekend with me in Nashville?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I just left it at that. I did, seriously. And so she was like, "Well, don't you want to know what you're coming here for?" I was like, "Damn, you're right. What am I coming up there for?" And when she said Hall of Fame, I mean, it just caught me so far off guard, honestly. And it was just a wonderful day, like she said. I really needed that news right then. Caught me so far off, and such a great accomplishment. A lot of great players come through here. All the inductees tonight, congratulations to y'all. It's a huge honor. Like I said, I really don't know what I did to deserve this life. I mean, God's been really so good to me. He's strategically placed all these different people in my life. And so me making it to a Hall of Fame here is just a reflection of all the hard work that other people have put in. I'm just the physical form for it. You know, so I don't think of myself as much more than that. You know, I'm just happy that I can express that to y'all. But I have had so much help, and it's ridiculous. Here in Nashville, they treat me with so much love, even with the Titans, all of that stuff. But man, I just know that I'm thankful. I'm really thankful, and any kid that gets the opportunity to come to this school, I think that's a great opportunity, and I hope that they come here and they contribute to this legacy that we're trying to build here, and we do want to win. We do want to win. We want you to graduate, but we do want to win. Make no mistake about it. And I do want to say also, I know because I jump all over the place, but that's just me. Everybody knows that. I am so happy, with Candace, y'all, what y'all have done. I mean, when you talk, you know, I don't know if anybody who ever follows me on Instagram, I am a S-talker. I talk all the time, and if we beat you, oh, you're going to hear about it. I've been waiting 15, 20 years to talk to some of these guys. Y'all don't have an idea. You know, really, like, I'm in the winning conversation. You know, that's a big deal. And I'm so proud that you guys are doing that, you know, got this program going. All of the sports, man, I talk about all of y'all, really, man. I love Vanderbilt. You know, I'm Vandy till I die. I ain't gonna change that no matter what. And on Niners too, you know, because they gave me an opportunity too. They drafted me. But I'm just thankful for everybody, man. Here at Vandy, it's a great place. Any kids that are coming here to this school, let's continue on the tradition of excellence and trying to win. And let's bring us a championship here, you know, especially in football. No, I'm just serious because I believe that we can do it. I know that we can do it. We can get a couple more pieces and add to it, and you know, we're gonna take off from what last year was, and I really do believe that. I seen what y'all have done. I'm really proud of everything that y'all have done. I mean, I could ramble all day and night, but I really can. I could talk this all day. But I love y'all. I love all of y'all, all the inductees, all the Vandy fans, people. I love y'all, and I'm so happy, and I'm so appreciative. And thank you so much, y'all. Anchor down, baby! I can hold a drink to after.
I think I might start following Jamie on Instagram, especially after the Tennessee game tomorrow. Everybody, thanks for coming out. That concludes our Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the class of 2025. How about another salute for our Hall of Famers? And if all of our 2025 class would come up and get a photo, and all of our Hall of Famers who are here, we'd like to get photos with everyone. We do have coffee and desserts outside. Thanks for coming. Anchor down. Great job.